when you're looking at one of these startup or repeat football leagues is compare it to the NFL. Is to say, all right, we got two quarterbacks playing in the XFL this week, trying to put them on any level of Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. In fact, I wouldn't match up Jackson Mahomes with John Hurts and expect that you're going to get anything close to that. All right? Forget it. Stop trying to expect NFL because you'll enjoy it so much more. There's a lot going on in this league. Not just our guy here in Philadelphia, Anthony Becht, who's at it again. We're going to start off with those St. Louis Battlehawks, but you got to slow down expecting NFL caliber football. There's a lot of great access, a lot of good stuff going on in the XFL, so that's why we're doing these bets for you. We're rolling, and we want to continue the momentum coming in 3 games on Sunday. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Let's build an XFL parlay, shall we not? I know that's not what the video says, but we're going to color outside the lines just today. How about that? First leg of our parlay is going to be the St. Louis Battlehawks +3. Both teams really well coached here. And as much as I would love to make fun of the opposing coach when we take on anybody, we meaning my St. Louis Battlehawks, only time I'll ever use that pronoun, trust me. I don't even use it for the Eagles or anything Philadelphia. But the only time normally, this case, DC is really well coached. The one area that I think DC lacks, and the one area that I think is going to prevent them from either winning this game outright or putting St. Louis away, and we've already seen St. Louis have a monster comeback earlier this year, but actually 2. But the one thing that I think separates St. Louis from DC is the quarterback position's ability to throw the football. Now, you can argue right back and say, hey, DC hasn't needed to throw the football. I think in this particular case, they do. We're still looking at 3 points like it's some crazy, wacky, strong-ass key number. It's not. I'll just take points in this scenario. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. St. Louis, these are 2 evenly matched teams. The area of attack for me, A.J. McCarron can throw the ball better than King and Te'amu. Just simply can. DC is not throwing, but they're running the ball. Their defense is great. St. Louis can do a lot too. And that's where I'll give the benefit of the doubt, not the quarterback position, but the ability to throw at the quarterback position. That's what gets me here. St. Louis, DC. We start with the St. Louis Battlehawks. All right. That's our first leg. Now, I just look, this is simple stuff. Let me just real simple tell you how you can sign up on DraftKings. It's going to take you, what, 90 seconds most? That's all. It's going to take you 90 seconds to sign up here. Click the link below, deposit $5, and bet the heaviest moneyline favorite you can find. Doesn't matter what moneyline favorite it is, just bet the heaviest moneyline favorite you can find. And as soon as that moneyline favorite wins, $5 turns into $150. Simple, right? Let's keep it moving. I don't want to keep you waiting, by all means. Look, I'm going back and forth between laying the 8 here, but I think I'm just going to go under 37.5. So our next leg is under 37.5 with the Orlando Guardians and Arlington Renegades. Orlando is the worst team in the NFL. See, I got Hurts, I got Mahomes, I got all these guys behind me. It's seeped into my brain, too. I was warning you to not do that, and look what happened. It's like, don't look down, and you look down. Before the person you're telling not to look down looks down. Under 37.5 is the best play on the board here. Look, Orlando, Paxton Lynch, I don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback spot. They're just so bad. Every league, every startup league, every new thing is going to have good and bad. It's not going to be total parity, right, where everybody has the same record. That's impossible. But in this case, Orlando just sticks out as being so bad, so difficult for Orlando to do much. Move the football, stop teams. The difference, though, Arlington, our old pal, Bob Stoops, switching up QBs this week. Hey, you can say whatever you want outside of Brett Hundley, who didn't start week 1 because he wasn't there in time. If you are not starting in the XFL, you're probably not good enough to step in and go on a run. Now, the best time to swap out quarterbacks and put in a new guy here would be going up against Orlando. I don't think either side.
NHA show, Josh.
Is it?
No. It's funny. Would be funny though.
They don't. They haven't sent me any gear. So what do you want me to do?
Yeah, right. Oh man, Tim Dillon's podcast the other day. Just like the first 30 minutes about Lori Lightfoot.
Who?
Oh yeah, you don't even know who that is. Let me tell you. And Mike, we can go. That was a treat.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
It was
Gordon Lightfoot?
No, it was the mayor of Chicago.
Mayor
of Chicago.
No.
Oh, are we live? We're live. Okay. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com NBA strategy show. Sunday morning. Little 7-game action here. Breaking it all down. I'm Dave Lockman at Loughy_D on the Twitters. LOUGHY_D. Joined by Josh Engelman at Josh Engelman. What's up, brother?
What's going on, dude?
Nothing,
I
man.
got nothing.
Nothing, man. Feeling good. A little Sunday. Yeah, beautiful weather here today. Cannot complain.
55 here right now, bright blue skies. It'll get up to like 70 in probably an hour or two. It's gonna be a good one. I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good day. We'll go out, or we'll go for a little walk after this one. Take the hounds, take the dog, take the daughter, might take the wife. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see. But yeah,
I'm home alone. I'm just hanging out. Might go downtown to watch Liverpool at 11:30. They're taking on Man U, but we'll see. I have to record one more video after this. Didn't get up as early as I would have liked to after being up pretty late for UFC last night.
Yeah. First round submission.
Yeah. As expected, sort of.
There was no way I was staying up. Did he at least land the significant strike?
Yeah, he had to have. I didn't think about it, but yeah.
I'm just wondering because that was the free square. And like my cards didn't hit anyway because I knew from NBA, like before that happened, that would have been wild.
Like as far as I know, he did. I haven't really thought about it. Like, it's not going to be a lot.
No.
So let me look at it. I'm pulling it up now. He landed 5.
Really? That okay. Yeah. He still got it, huh?
Yeah. Oh, he's incredible.
Woo! All right.
To be fair, like. It's also not. I don't want to make myself sound like it. Like to me, this was just an obvious outcome. I didn't see how any situation where he was going to be able to grapple with him, and he could not grapple with him immediately.
What was the line, John? What was the line on that? Do you know? Like around what it might have been? Like was he a heavy favorite?
He was a solid favorite.
Like 200, 150, something like that.
Looks like minus 150, something in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Something in the like 140 to 170 range, depending on what book you were grabbing it.
Okay, so not a massive favorite though, just like all right. Well, should be fun.
Hell yeah.
And well, now they're saying who's he fighting next? The guy who?
Stipe Miocic.
Yes. Should that be good?
It's to me, like the second greatest fight you could ever make in the UFC history.
Wow. Okay. I might actually stay up for that one. Chat's saying it closed around 175, 180. So, okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Got it. Anyway, hey, happy to have you guys with us as always on a Sunday morning. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Take a single second to atone for your sins. You know how this works. Helps us immensely. Believe it or not. That's why it's there, right? You hit the thumbs up. You leave comments down below. Nice, mean, indifferent, doesn't matter, right? Subscribe to the channel. All that gets, picked up in the algorithm and they go, is this a good show or this is a bad show? We'd like to make this a good show that people want to watch and you guys help us. You've helped us a ton with that over the years as well. So much appreciated. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. If you're listening in podcast form, we know you're there. We appreciate you for it. You don't have to be staring at our faces. It's okay. Subscribe to the pod. Leave a rating, a review, whatever it is, preferably 5 stars, and let's get on with it. So, man, 7-game slate. We're talking 7-game slate here. Okay, we'll talk to night slate. 3-game slate. We won't be hitting that. There is live before lock tonight as well. But right now, Tyus Jones, we have him. And I don't see why. Like, I don't really know why he's 3,100. You would think, you know how like DraftKings, the way that they always preemptively price up backup running backs in the event that something would, you'd think he'd at least be like 4K running across every game. We have him at 92% right now, Tyus Jones.
Yeah, he has to be. He'll be in every lineup I play tonight. It's not close. Yeah. I guess John Morant got into some trouble, allegedly.
What a dummy, man.
I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it.
Don't wave a gun on Instagram. And apparently he brandished the same firearm returning to a pickup basketball game with a few teenagers.
Allegedly. I don't know. It's dumb.
Does it shock you? I mean, this is the same guy that they said that one of the guys in his entourage had a red dot on somebody. No,
it doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't shock me at all. But I also don't think he did anything wrong.
No?
I mean, I don't care if he takes a picture with 1,000 guns.
Right. But, and you should know that somebody like myself.
You obviously, I know, don't care about that either.
Right. But I understand that image in the NBA, when you're getting paid millions of dollars, is important. Like that's what it comes down to, man.
It is, but that's a slippery slope, man. Look, you want to get him for the laser. You want to get him for like whatever this may or may not of alleged incident with a high school kid. Like, I guess that's fine. I would look into those. The Instagram thing is weird to me. I don't care what that, like, he is harming absolutely no one in that video. Until
he harms somebody.
What are we saying now? That he can't have a gun?
No. And
if he's at a gun range, is it a problem? Like, where do you draw the line for this?
It's right. Look, listen, I think you and I agree on most of this stuff. Like, obviously, you shouldn't, you can't punish somebody criminally for something where it's like, oh, what if someone ends up actually getting shot? You can't just be like, oh, he did this and he might shoot somebody, so we have to of course, that would be insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not America type stuff. But what I'm saying is he is still in the NBA. Like,
sure.
you have a reputation, you have an image to uphold. So I just think you have to separate like what is legal and what we should have an issue with, and what is this guy getting paid. He's under contract. Like, that's all I'm saying.
I agree that it's stupid of him to do it. But okay, if the laser pointer thing doesn't happen and this other kid story doesn't happen, do you think he gets suspended for this? If this is the first time it happens?
Maybe not. Maybe no,
right.
Probably not. But this is compiling, you know what I mean?
I guess to me, it's a really slippery slope. I hope that the suspension is coming for reasons that aren't just this.
If I brought out my AK and just started pointing at the screen on this show, you'd be fine with that. I mean, it'd be weird. It would be a very strange thing to do. But
yeah,
you'd be like, hey, right.
I mean, it's not like I think the bullet's going to come through my camera.
Never loaded, man. You got to, not. But I'm just, I don't know. All I'm saying is,
it's just weird. I agree. It's a bad look.
Can we agree on this? It was stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying. Forget about anything else. I'm just saying, just don't put yourself in that situation.
No, there's absolutely no reason to do it. But like, isn't that just like a music video too? Like, I mean, what are we doing here? If this is the biggest problem, that he has a gun, like he shouldn't have had, I guess there's some sort of degree of like collective bargaining agreement stuff where like he has a gun in a different state. If I was reading it correctly, like there are some like weird CBA loopholes for it. But I don't care that he had a gun on an Instagram live. I don't care if he had 1,000 guns on an Instagram live. I care if he shoots someone on an IG live, but like, should we show him drinking? If he's in a legal smoking state and he's hitting a joint, is that a problem? Because that's probably painting a pretty negative light on society as well, depending on where you want to do this. Like, I
get what you're saying.
Weird.
It's slippery slope, weird. But I still think there's you have to discern between one and the other. That's like, Again, it is. I'm not out here. I'm not up in arms about it. I just think it was dumb. That's like my whole. All I'm saying on this is I just think it was dumb. That's it.
So do I.
You know?
Yeah, I think it has to be more about the other two things, and this is just like the fucking cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this then. All right, so what if there was a video of somebody just openly blasting heroin into their veins, like Joel Embiid, just not to say that he did or ever would, right? Guy drinks Shirley Temples, but if Joel Embiid just sitting down like in the back of a club, mainlining heroin, and then just nodded on the screen for like 20 minutes.
Well, I assume that would technically be against his, like, there will be drug policy involved for that one. So he would get popped for it.
But is there not a policy?
They're not going to be like, oh, he's taking his insulin.
Right. But there has to be a policy on upholding like certain type of behavior to begin with. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't find that having a gun on screen is negative behavior. It's just, it's misguided behavior.
Okay. You were going to say stupid, and stupid is negative. So I got you.
I don't think that I don't think that stupid is negative.
No?
No.
All right. All right. Joe said it's just insulin. Yeah. That's Kingsley said Loughy's struggling. I don't know what I'm struggling with, dude. I don't care if they suspend them or not. I'm just saying don't do that. That's all I'm saying. All right. Yeah, heroin is illegal. I understand. Well, depends on where you are.
Yeah.
You go into San Francisco, I can assure you they're not going to arrest you for doing heroin. They're going to give you
They might give you heroin.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk some basketball here. Portland at Orlando. We got 1.5 point spread here. Still no Anthony Simons. Orlando, do you think Franz Wagner plays?
I don't know. I mean, I have him in if that helps. Obviously, left early on Friday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's an ankle. Look, it's an ankle sprain. It's one of those things. The good news is it's the 6:00 game. We get the answer. So right. I'm projecting him in and moving forward as if he's playing. But would it shock me if he sat? No. Like they have no incentive to push anybody to do anything right now.
Looking though at the Portland side, one of the things that we're working with now is just that Anthony Simons and Nurkic have been out long enough to where together where a lot of these price points have found themselves a balance. Like Dame is still extraordinarily expensive. Not to say that he's a bad play against Orlando. Jeremy Grant getting a little bit of love here. I mean, I will throw it out there too. If he continues to get such low ownership, I think everybody knows that I'm not the biggest fan of Matisse Thybulle, but if he's going to continue to play like low to potentially high 30s in minutes, and he is a good defensive player, like he has 5 stocks in back-to-back games. He has 3+ steals plus block stocks in 4 straight games. There's nothing exciting about him, but in those spots where he does happen to hit 2 or 3 threes, and he's out there for 35 minutes, I don't think $4,100 is insane on a slate like this, but he's not going to excite you either.
Wait, we're sorry. We're back to Portland. You hit me with the Franz.
I said, let's
hit me with the Franz Wagner. I was like, oh shit.
I wanted to get an overview of the game from an injury standpoint first, but yeah, back to Portland.
Yep. So Thybulle's shooting threes for Portland. I took an under on his made 1.5. He's made more than 2 threes in multiple games, and I wonder, like, it's a really interesting thing because obviously he had either was told to not shoot threes as much for Philly or had some sort of indifference to it. When Josh Hart got traded from Portland, he kind of came out and said, like, oh, now he's allowed to do some things that he wasn't able to do in Portland. But then they're giving Matisse Thybulle carte blanche to get these threes up. And he's shooting, I want to say that he's shooting like 48% or something dumb from 3.
Which is
he's
insane,
come to Portland. Yeah. Look, it's a small sample. And he is, no matter what we want to say, he's not a good 3-point shooter.
What's he, like 31% for his career, I think, something like that?
Yeah, and on low volume, too. Like, he doesn't shoot them and he doesn't make them, but he's 16 of 31 from 3 with Portland so far.
So wait, he's over 50%.
51%, yeah. 16 of 31 so far.
Career 33.6. Okay, so a little bit better than I thought.
Now, that said, I find him mostly uninteresting today. He's pulling 7% ownership. He's like a 0.75 guy. Look, he's at 0.88 over the last 30 days. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's shooting the lights out for himself. Yeah. It's, he's establishing a different level of scoring. Totally reasonable value play. I kind of see Portland very similar across the board. Dame at 11.7, no Anthony Simons. By all means, get there. He's 16% owned. I got him as a 1.55 fantasy point per minute guy here at 11.7. I'm getting like 2x the field. Never going to have an issue getting to Dame. Jeremy Grant's price is probably at sort of like the peak of what it can be. He's the only other guy that's going to get any real usage. He's the only other guy that can like really create out there. I'm not really getting to much. I don't have much Thibault or Reddish. I think both guys are very reasonable value plays. I have no issue getting there. You can flip the coin on Drew Eubanks or Trendon Watford. We see Eubanks play like somewhere between 22 and 26 minutes every night. Watford gets most of the minutes that Eubanks doesn't play. They're 4,100 and 3,600. Don't play them together, but if you want to take a shot on either one of them, I think that's more than viable. Shaden Sharp sees minutes jump up from time to time. He's a absolutely terrible DFS player. I got him as a 0.68 guy in my model. He's like 0.7-ish for today. At 3,400, you can make a case for it. I don't find him to be all that appealing. I think the real easiest stuff you could talk about here, it's Dame at the top end because the raw point ceiling is just so high. Jeremy Grant is 2. I guess I prefer Thibault over Reddish, but Reddish does have the shooting guard small forward eligibility. Ultimately, I just don't find Portland to be all that interesting.
I get it. And by the way, the only reason I was talking so extensively about Thibault is because he's getting the minute, like he's never seen minutes like this guy. Like no. If he plays 35, 36 minutes, you're like, all right, they could get me there because he's still cheap. But yeah, he's never exciting. And I certainly won't be the one making that case. I think you know that. On the other side, what are you drinking, by the way?
Kombucha.
Okay. All right.
Blueberry and yerba mate.
What is kombucha? Kombucha.
Probiotic tea, fermented tea. Either direction you want to go there.
Is it good?
I think it's delicious.
Did you drink coffee today?
I did drink coffee today.
Okay. So you're going both of them.
Yeah. I actually forgot that I had this in the fridge. I went down, I opened it up. I was like, shit, yeah. I just wanted something cold.
So like how much caffeine is in that?
Minimal-ish. Wake up call, Lenny boy, caffeine. Like 40 milligrams.
Oh, okay. So like less than half a cup of coffee, really?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Bencaro, we have Wagner in right now, so we'll see how that plays. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play, though. I mean, no. It was an ankle, wasn't it?
Yeah, he sprained his ankle.
Yeah, so it wouldn't shock me if he ends up being out. We'll see what the injury report does. Like you said, it's the earliest game, so I'm not going to belabor the point there. Does anybody stand out, though, for Orlando today?
Sort of. Like, obviously, if Franz is in, if Paolo's in, you can very happily play them both. They're both about 15% owned in our projected ownership right now, and I think that's reasonable. If you want to go to Fultz as well, like getting any one of the main starters, always okay. But it's a terrible defense for Portland. Like they're not very good on that end. So if you want to tackle any of the real starters, you can. The guy that I'm interested in a little bit here is Cole Anthony. He's 4,300. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. Talking about a guy that's at least a fantasy point per minute guy, upwards of 1.1, depending on the day. Past 3 games, they've stabilized this rotation. Played 27 minutes on Monday of last week, 33 minutes then on Wednesday, played 28.5 on Friday. Now we did lose Franz for a bit. I gave Cole Anthony 26 minutes. That is less than he has played in all of the 3 previous games. That seems to me like a pretty reasonable projection. If he's at 26 minutes, I'm a little surprised to see him only be 11% owned. I'm getting significantly more than that. I think he's a really nice leverage play at that ownership mark. And I think that there's some upside. I mean, what if he does play 28 minutes like he did on Friday? What if he plays 30 minutes like he did on Wednesday? At 26 with an MPE at 4,300 on this size slate, I mean, we're talking about needing 30 fantasy points. That's not a huge stretch for Cole Anthony if he's playing 26 minutes. That could be basically an average performance. If he just has a decent day at those minutes, he's a necessity in your lineup. So I think he's getting underrepresented.
Okay. I want to talk about Charlotte a little bit here. 7.5-point dogs against Brooklyn, 227.5 total. Kelly Oubre, interesting spot for Oubre, obviously pulling a lot of ownership here. +1 fantasy point per minute guy without LaMelo on the floor this year. +1 barely, but on the season anyway. But he's also, I'm trying, because he missed a ton of games, right? And then he played a bunch of games when LaMelo was out earlier in the season.
Yeah, he was out for a weeks, easy. But he was also available when LaMelo was out for that big chunk to start the season.
Exactly. He was out for 2 months, actually. Almost 2 months. So significant. But coming off a fantastic game, and now really 2 games in a row, back-to-back games without LaMelo, you've seen 38 and 41 minutes from Oubre. Very nice usage in those spots. Like, you're just at 6,900 here. It just seems too low given the minutes that he's playing and with LaMelo Ball off the floor.
Yeah, he definitely looks really good. I would say that he's the best play on Charlotte, and that's a pretty easy statement to make. I don't know if I love him as much as the field does. I got to about 15%. He's 6,900. He's got the best eligibility that you could have. He's a fantasy point per minute guy. He's around a 23% usage dude. Doesn't do too much else other than score. The big question is, how many minutes do you think he plays? I gave him 36. It makes me a little nervous to not go a little bit higher. Like, as you said, he played 38 and 40 over the past 2, but I need to see it. Like, he's only been back for 6 games. I need to see that more than twice before I go over that 36 mark. Is it conceivable that he plays upwards of 40 again? Yeah, and he's just going to look like an even better play. So I'm tempering my expectations there. Like, if this is a blowout, he's obviously not getting that time. If it's a blowout the opposite direction, you never know. So I think 36 feels safe. If we see him get to 37, 38, 39 again, then I will be projecting him a little bit higher moving forward. But I don't want to dive into it just off of 2 games. I think that he and Terry Rozier look pretty similar today. Rozier is at 8K. He's a slightly better per minute guy. When LaMelo's not around, we just see Rozier with a bigger usage rate than Oubre has. So I have those guys as pretty similar relative to salary. And then, as per usual, I have interest in Mark Williams, 6,300, unowned. He's at 2.5%. Just the perfect GPP center to take here. Brooklyn is a terrible rebounding team. They are dead last in offensive rebounding, 28th in defensive rebounding. I think that bodes really well for Mark Williams' board ceiling. If he could just get a couple extra buckets, I don't think it'll take a lot to pay off 6,300.
What do you think the return of PJ Washington does to this lineup today?
Nothing really. We lose, Thor goes back to just being a backup. Kai Jones leaves the rotation completely. I assume Washington goes back into like his 32 to 34 minutes and looks mostly uninteresting.
Okay. I know Adam mentioned this the other day when we were doing the deeper dive, and while it didn't play out actually, that's not fair to say, because he wasn't saying it should play out that way. He was just saying that, wow, Oubre is getting this much more ownership than Gordon Hayward. And they're similarly priced. Hayward's pulling less than 1% right now. He's played 34 and 33 minutes over his last 2 games. Obviously not as appealing as Oubre. Do you agree, though, with that massive, massive gap in ownership?
I mean, when you just look at it on the surface and you like separate the two from each other, yeah,
Oubre's a better play. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, like Gordon Hayward came out of my sim at 2.7%. Do I think that he's under-owned at nothing? Yeah, I do. But gotcha. I don't think that he should just suddenly be pulling in a ton of ownership. He's a much worse per minute. He's like a full 1/10 of a point worse than Oubre. Yeah.
But it does feel like getting a little bit of him in non-Oubre lineups could make sense in tournaments today, given that Oubre's at 26% right now.
Yeah, if you're in a large field GPP, don't feel bad about it. I mean, he just falls into the same bucket that like most starters do. He's essentially appropriately priced. He's going to play 32 to 36 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. Those guys can always have good days. Like, no, if he gets 40 fantasy points, you're like, okay, Gordon Hayward can be in an optimal lineup for today. And like, that's just not a crazy thing to do. He's just less likely than others.
Yep, for sure. On the other side, are you on board with this ownership going to Claxton right now?
I haven't seen it yet, so let's find out.
49%.
Okay, I am. On
Okay.
board on this.
This
Yes.
is one I was a little bit skeptical of.
I mean, so much of it is just matchup. Charlotte's just straight utter ass in most facets of the game. They're missing their best player. They are the number one team in pace in the league. Even if you want to say that comes down a little bit because of no LaMelo, it's a giant pace up spot for Brooklyn. It just doesn't really get much better than facing Charlotte. They're not very good at anything, really. So I like a lot of this Brooklyn team. We're seeing Bridges get massive usage now that he is with the Nets. I got him up to 25% usage. He's a 1.15 guy in this spot. So I'm 2xing that 14% number. I didn't think that I would ever like a $7,900 Bridges like that. I think Spencer Dinwiddie looks just like the public says. He should be about 20% owned at 7,100. Dorian Finney-Smith is 3,900. I don't necessarily love his 17% ownership. That seems a tad high. Like, that's a spot where I would rather have more Cole Anthony than Dorian Finney-Smith, but still good point per dollar play. Probably the best point per dollar play on Brooklyn. I like Cam Johnson quite a bit at 5,600. His minutes are there. Played 31 this last time out on Friday. I have more than the field of him. But I actually got to 58% Nick Claxton, 6,300. It's a minutes thing here. I gave him 29, which I think is probably I don't want to say pessimistic, but it's certainly not an optimistic projection for him. We know what he does. He's a 1.2 guy. As long as he's getting the minutes, 40 fantasy points out of Nick Claxton against the Hornets. It's been take centers against the Hornets all year. Now Mason Plumlee's not there anymore, so maybe that changes, but I don't really think that it changes all that much. I think you really have to get to Brooklyn. This matchup is as good as it gets on the slate.
Yeah. That's a high number. But yeah, look, they're a top 4 in pace. They're bottom 10 in defense. They're allowing the second most opponent rebounds on the season. Everything does add up, right? They allow points in the paint at a high clip. If you're just talking matchup here, yes, no doubt about it. Claxton, very enticing. It's just, a center only eligible guy, mid, 6K price point, 50%, always kind of jumps off the page at you as like, okay, wow. But anyway, Utah and OKC, by the way, we're over 100 likes already, Josh. That's
not bad.
I think that's pretty good. Listen, 410 people watching, 102 likes. You're talking about essentially a 25% likes to viewer ratio. That's not a bad ratio. I'm happy with that.
It just makes me pissed off at the other 300 people.
Talk Utah and OKC. Before we do, though, I'd mentioned this the other day. I don't know if we just hadn't been mentioning it or what, but all of our subscriptions are 50% off right now. Like everything, whether you wanted to do a week of just NBA, a week of everything, you wanted to do a month of everything, plus the lineup generators included in that, or you go, wait, what can I just use the lineup generator? Nothing pleases me more than seeing the comments in chat, unsolicited comments being like, yo, I just finished first out of 7,000 using the lineup There was one guy that said he was down to his final $2. He's like, I'm gonna get the lineup generator because it's less than $4.50 for the first week, runs it out there and finishes first out of 7,500 people. Like, awesome to see that. And we've seen a lot of big wins with people utilizing the lineup generator. The cool thing though is like you can still massage it if you want. It's not just straight, here are your lineups, like, oh, I'm buying lineups. No, you can lock players in. Like Josh, you can swap players out. You can pick the lineups you want, export them to CSV. It's optimized for mobile. That's just one of the things that you could do a la carte, or it's included in all of the other subscriptions as well.
Yeah, it's just it simplifies the entire process for you. You start off with a giant pool of lineups that we've already gone through and thrown the garbage in the garbage. So right away, you're only getting things that sort of meet our criteria of being a good lineup. And after that, depending on what kind of contest you're in, whether you want to generate, contrarian builds, chalky builds, balanced builds, whether you were like, okay, well, I need that guy in everything. Like, I just want to see every lineup that I can get with Jordan Clarkson in it today. And, it's just going to start showing you Jordan Clarkson lineup. Swipe through, save, discard, whatever you want to do. It's all right there for you. And if you get a lineup that you're like, oh man, I love this lineup, but I don't want that guy in it, you just click a button and swap them out. Like, it's very simple, showing you projected fantasy points. It's showing you projected ownership. You can save up to 20. I mean, the process of it all is so simple. It's great on mobile. I know that's something that people are looking for pretty regularly. I mean, it is basically set up to be run on your phone if you wanted to. I can't oversell it enough. Just
it's awesome.
For somebody that's playing limited lineups, anything up to 20. I mean, it's the perfect tool for you right now.
Or limited bankroll, or has limited time.
Yeah,
on their day. That's the thing I love. Like, you just go, all right, you get home from work, the wife and kids a day, like, I gotta go take a shit. I'll be right back, right? Even though you don't, and you plug in the lineup generator. It's sweet. But honestly, it's if you have time or don't have time. It's essentially made for anybody, but that's just part of it. If you wanted ownership, the boom bust tool, the top stack tools for every sport, right? Like all the tools for every sport. We got F1 projections now. We got it all. Across the board, all of our player projections, projected stats. You can do that. The generators included, or just the lineup generator. Mike, do me a favor. Just throw both in. Throw the 50% in for anyone that's looking, and then also 50% off the lineup generator. But if you guys have any questions too, you can hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. You're trying to figure out what's best for you. But yeah, 50% off everything, whether you want to go just lineup generator, less than $4.50 a week, or everything for every sport, or just NBA, we got you covered. Let's talk about the next game here. We're looking at Utah and OKC. So Jordan Clarkson returns, but now Lauri Markkanen with that lower back soreness is out. Colin Sexton remains out as well. So this is kind of interesting. Like Talen Horton-Tucker, I think finally is probably at a point where you go, all right, price is coming up, 7.7% sure. But Clarkson now without Sexton and without a high usage player like Markkanen against OKC today, this is interesting.
Yeah, I like him. I thought I would actually like him a little bit more. I think the field is basically right here. 18% owned, point guard, shooting guard, 7,300. Sees a very sizable usage and assist rate bump with those guys off. I got him at 30% usage for today, 26% assist rate, 1.17 fantasy points per minute for today in a matchup against OKC. Pace up spot. I feel like these guys have played, I think they've played like 3 times in the past 2 or 3 weeks. It's been a lot of Utah and OKC as of late. It's a really nice fantasy environment. I don't have too much else to say for Clarkson. Like, it's sort of just obvious. If he's in and you're assuming he's playing his standard starter minutes, he looks like a good play. After that, it's kind of tough. Like Akbaji, assuming he starts in Markkanen's spot, is not all that interesting, even at 3,600, because he's such a poor per minute guy. Kelly Olynyk, I think, looks totally fine. You get that power forward center eligibility, slight usage bump as well with no Markkanen around, but he's already 9% owned. The guy I like the most is actually Walker Kessler. I love the spot for him, just taking on an OKC team that I'm just generally not all that worried about. From a defensive standpoint, even though they are a solid enough defense, that's not the way that I look at them. I think it's a really nice rebound spot for Walker Kessler. He's 6,800. I think he looks pretty similar to Nick Claxton, as weird as that sounds. Like,
I thought, and that makes sense. I thought Utah would look a little better, but then you kind of realize, excuse me, that the guys benefiting from this are just not high per minute production players. That's kind of the issue. Yeah. Once you get to some of the value guys,
like Kessler's $500 more expensive than Claxton. He's 13% owned and Claxton's 48. I have them projected as essentially the same guy. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah. And that's why the ownership on Claxton was just a little bit surprising to me. Plus the archetype of player is not that much different. Walker Kessler's a great shot blocker, a phenomenal rebounder, and he's going to take, if you're lucky, 6 or 7 field goal attempts. When you talk about how these guys accumulate fantasy points, is there anything that really stands out as that much different?
No, not to me. And that's why I'm getting, 2.5 times the field of 13% ownership on Walker Kessler. It's a spot where I want to be. So I have no problem getting to Claxton, circling back to that, but I think you can grab Kessler as well pretty easily and fill out this like 6K center range.
2 things here. Money Making Mitch, what's up, brother? Said, love the lineup generator. It's very useful at work. I'm telling you, dude, it is. In all seriousness, yeah. And you know what? Like, as far as productivity goes at work, you could probably do both. Someone asked, how do I change the lineup generator, switch my subscription from NFL to NBA lineup generator? You should just be able to switch to NBA. No, you should just have both.
Yeah.
And then where's oh yeah, money making. Loughy, thanks for selling me in the Manscaped. Absolutely love the spa for my balls. Best product in the world. Yo, it's legit. They're not sponsoring this show. I have no problem doing like I have no problem saying it. I hit Josh up yesterday morning. I was like, dude, they gave me a pair of briefs too that I'm rocking. And these I hit you up at like 6:50 in the morning after I got out of the shower. I was like, these things are nice. Yeah.
What else did you tell me?
Oh no. I knew that would get you though.
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, it's awesome. He said the spa for my balls is the best product. Yeah, dude. I never thought I'd use it. I rubbed that cream all over and then spritzed it up. I went, oh yeah, my God, this is something.
It was really fun to see Manscaped sponsoring the UFC last night and just being like, we do the same reads.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the same read, same sponsorship.
I mean, Rogan would do the same read
as mine.
I mean, he wouldn't not do it. That's for sure.
Sure. I take inspiration from Tim Dillon, who just goes full scorched earth on things, except he does stuff that literally gets sponsorships pulled because it's like out of control.
Can't say I blame him.
Yeah. And yes, Dylan, that is the South Park voice. It's the my God. That was the whole breaks a God thing too. We had some fun with that, but yeah. Hold on a second. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we had all of our ducks in a row here. Let's talk about OKC. SGA off the injury report, so we expect him to play. I'll just ask you simply now that we've seen a lot of price points reflect SGA out. This oftentimes makes a team wildly unappealing because the prices have not come back down to a point where their star 10K plus player is back. Is that how you feel about OKC today?
Just about, yeah. I think Jalen Williams, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort are basically off the table. I don't mind getting to SGA. 9,800 against the Jazz is a pretty nice price tag. He's already 18% owned, so public's already there. But by all means, and I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. If you want to play SGA, play SGA. The guy that I think is getting slept on the most here is Jalen Williams with a Y. Center eligible, 3,800, unowned, 1.5% ownership right now. This is a guy that played 31 minutes on Friday. He played 25 minutes on Wednesday. There are days where he just comes out and plays like 14, and it's weird, but he has played 25 or more minutes in 5 of his last 7 games. I projected him for 25 minutes. This dude is like a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy in this spot at 3,800. It's just another center that should be getting more value here. Like, for him to get to 30 fantasy points in 25 minutes as a center, you wouldn't even bat an eye at that. And that's ultimately like a really good value option for a 7-game slate. So I actually think Jalen Williams, the center, is the best play on Oklahoma City if you're not getting to SGA.
Okay. Yeah, SGA's fallen below 10K on DraftKings. That is, yeah. I think that's still a perfect, assuming he's not limited. I sometimes wonder, these guys coming back he was in protocol, correct? It wasn't non-COVID. He was in the protocol, right?
He was in the protocol, and he had some other injury as well.
The abdomen injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I'm not looking at COVID as anything different than like if he had the flu or if he was sick. I'm just saying he was in protocol. My question is like, were the symptoms rough? Were they not bad? I don't know. It is, I think you would agree. It is still kind of unknown for any player coming back in their first game after an illness where sometimes just weird conditioning or they weren't, there's stuff that can happen is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Nothing to say that he doesn't run out of gas in the fourth quarter after being out for a bit.
Or maybe he hasn't
played since the 23rd.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's been 2 weeks almost.
Yeah. Like I gave him 34 minutes. I got to 10%. I think he looks good. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he just went out and smashed Utah, but there's definitely like some more downside risk than you normally have.
All right. How about the Spurs today, man? There's a lot of absences here as well. Keldon Johnson's out. Vassell's still out. Branham is out. McDermott's out. They got Romeo Langford back for whatever that matters, but he returned last game. But yeah, dude, this you got a significant amount of players that are sidelined for this one today. And they're going up against the Houston Rockets.
I got to correct you for basically everything you said. We have no idea who's playing for San Antonio today. They are on a back-to-back. They played yesterday.
Yeah, my fault. For some reason, you know what? Yes, thank you. Yes.
You're good.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, okay, we don't know who's playing.
No, it's a lot of dudes that we don't know who's playing. Just based on the injury statuses we had yesterday, we don't know the status of Trey Jones, Romeo Langford, Malachi Branham, Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott. I assume Vassell's playing.
I was looking at yesterday on the back-to-back. Yep. All right. But actually, it looks like Keldon Johnson is expected to play then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have him in.
Ignore everything I just said.
I have everybody in except for Langford and Trey Jones right now. No one looks like a good play to me from San Antonio. There's really no way to evaluate this until we get an injury report. So Live Before Lock is going to be able to help you out a lot more here. There's too many different bodies for us to go through all of the different permutations. Like, if you want to play any starter for the Spurs today, they're probably going to look like good enough plays. You know, like if Keldon Johnson is in, he's always at least mildly interesting at 6,800. Devin Vassell, if he is he going to start? Is he going to play? He played 22 minutes in his return on Thursday. I didn't really get to anything. The way that I have it projected right now, I got one share of Keldon Johnson. We can get 3 of these guys out that I already have in, and that changes everything. It's really difficult to want to go any further here because there's just too much on the table right now.
Okay. So then I guess we would assume that Vassell does play if he sat out the first leg of a back-to-back.
That's my assumption too.
Okay. Yeah, if you return on Thursday, you sit out Saturday, you play Sunday. All right. What about guys like Tari Eason and KJ Martin on the other side of this game for Houston?
I mean, to me, they look incredible. I'm surprised. We were seeing Tari Eason get all of this additional ownership for a bit, and now that's not the case, but maybe it should be. I'm not entirely sure why he's not pulling more ownership. I mean, I really do like him at that 21% mark. Now, we saw no Jayshawn Tate yesterday, so that's another thing where, especially like if Jayshawn Tate ends up out, you really should be getting to a lot more Tari Eason. But this is a guy that played 31 minutes on Saturday with no Tate. He played 25 minutes on Wednesday, 31 on Tuesday, but that was still with no KPJ and no Tate. When you've had these guys out, even just over the past 4 games, he's averaged 29 minutes. If we just want to say that Tate comes back and Tari Eason plays the 25 minutes that he got on Wednesday when everybody was still in, that's pretty interesting to me for over a fantasy point per minute guy at 4,400. He's a really good value. I will have way more than 20% Tari Eason today in a matchup against the Spurs. This one to me is pretty simple. He's the best. Like, to me, he's very clearly the best play on Houston. Do I like Jalen Green for 6,400 at 10% ownership? Sure. I got him in for 30 minutes. I think there's upside there. And again, matchup doesn't get much better than San Antonio. I mean, we're talking about probably the 2 worst teams in basketball facing off here. Unfortunately for us, we kind of have to pay attention to it from a DFS perspective. Kenyon Martin's getting ownership. Şengün's getting ownership. Most of the guys that are going to play big minutes for Houston are very viable today.
Yeah. Look, if Eason's going to continue to get those type of minutes at a low 4K price point, I'm not really sure what the downside is to getting a lot of him every night.
No, I would like to.
Yeah, especially in this matchup against the Spurs. Like you said, arguably the 2 worst teams in the league. Like this is a very appealing spot.
It's volatile.
What?
It's volatile, but it's very appealing.
Yeah. Talk about the New York Knicks then and the Boston Celtics. So interestingly, with this slate, you actually have a lot of teams where you can get to a decent amount of spots. We've seen a lot of slates over the last week or 2 where literally you do a 10-game slate for a show and you go, man, I wonder how long this is going to take. And then there's seriously 12 teams where you just go, yeah, I'm not interested at all. Yeah. I think a lot of times when you've got a matchup like the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics, you're going to have something similar. So we can get into that. Robert Williams is out here. Brogdon is questionable. But on the New York Knicks side, is there anybody that jumps off the page as we've seen with a lot of other good spots for most teams so far?
Nope. Highest owned guy on the team is Julius Randle at 6.5%. As always, play Brunson, play Randle if you want. I like the idea of going to $4,900 Mitchell Robinson. He's playing 30 minutes a night now that he's back. He's not really pulling all that much ownership. I got 7%. It's projected for 6%. The problem is I just like other centers more. We've talked about so many of them already. I'm happy to get to Claxton. I'm obviously very happy to get to Walker Kessler. I've mentioned Jalen Williams, who I think is just pretty massively underpriced. We can name another center on every team that's going to look similar to Mitchell Robinson. Like, he's a 0.9 guy for this team right now. And it's just not the same sort of volume. But would you be surprised if he played well here today? I certainly wouldn't. The problem is he's just like the 8th best center today. And at that point in time, you just can't get too much. After that, I mean, I don't know how you want to go to anything from New York.
Right. That's how it feels. And I guess on the other side, maybe a little Jason Tatum here, but this team is largely healthy outside of Robert Williams.
Yeah, no Time Lord for this one. Going to be out for a couple games. I'm assuming they start Blake Griffin today, and he's not worth rostering because he's just not going to play enough minutes. I think you probably get some Muscala as well. They just kind of play a bunch of these dudes. I think Tatum's fine at 10-6. I think Jaylen Brown's fine at 8,700. This is just another game environment that's not all that interesting. Boston is incredibly slow, 24th in my pace metric. The Knicks are incredibly slow, 28th in my pace metric. I don't see this game as a game where you're trying to get to a lot of like individual plays. To me, this is the spot you go, whether it's to the main guys from New York or the main guys from Boston. This is the spot you go when you build a chalky lineup and you need to swap one guy out for another.
You doing a Prize Picks video today?
It's already out, brother.
Oh, okay. You got a good card. What are we going? 5 play? Flex?
5 play. That's what I'm doing, man.
All
I got
right.
5 of them. We just talked about Mitchell Robinson. He's on the card. You want to hear? Here's an interesting Mitchell Robinson prop for you for today. You ready?
Hit me, yeah.
Mitchell Robinson's rebound prop for today is at 9.5. Now, I liked that a lot. That was going to be the play until I continued to look and saw that his rebounds plus assist prop was also 9.5.
Whoa.
So
not even 10.5.
No. And we clearly, Mitchell Robinson, not a guy that's just picking up a bunch of assists. That's not how he gets his points.
No.
But if you ever take just the rebounds there, you're an idiot.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it's not right. Because if any, listen, an assist prop on him should be 0.5 assists. Yeah. But if you're adding that to the rebound prop, it's going to be 10.5 rebounds plus assists. It has
even
to
if it's just 10, that's fine.
But I'm saying, but they wouldn't. They're always going to add the hook to that.
Oh no, they don't. They do round numbers all the time.
No, a sports book.
Oh, but Prize Picks doesn't. Right. I got Jason Tatum under 10 rebounds.
Okay. So yeah, Prize Picks. I'm saying if you're talking about a traditional book, I should have specified that. You're going to see it at I wonder if they even have that. Now I'm curious.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not taking just rebounds. That would be dumb. If he gets an assist, that's just a free rebound for the rebound bet. You can't beat it.
Yeah. It's okay. So he's at 9.5 rebounds plus assists on DraftKings, but minus 130 on the over.
Okay. Love it.
Even so, if you're getting that, okay. But see, okay, that's what it is, right? So on DraftKings, it's 9.5 and 9.5, but it's even money on the rebounds. So they're just heavily juicing the rebounds and assists, but you don't get that on Prize Picks. So it's still a big advantage.
Yeah, you can't. It stood out like a sore thumb to me. I couldn't believe that it existed. And now it makes me think I wonder how many of those that I miss on a day-to-day basis where they're not all that interesting, but then by default that becomes slightly more interesting. So I'm going to set something up now to notate anytime I see somebody that has the same rebounds plus assist prop as they do for just rebounds or just assists. It's not going to happen a lot. You basically have to be a guy that doesn't get assists.
Because a lot of times they just won't include that prop. I'm kind of I'm surprised that it's even included. A lot of times
me too.
Isn't. You know what else?
You just don't need a rebounds plus assist prop for Mitchell Robinson.
No, not at all. What is interesting though is you also get $100 first match deposit bonus at Prize Picks. So if you were to go over there, you got to use the link in the description and the one in chat, because I'm going to tell you why that's very important in a second. If you deposit $100, your account's going to say 200. If you deposit 50, it's going to say 100. Even if you throw 10 in, It's still going to say 20, right? 100% match deposit bonus up to $100. And, earlier Josh and I had said, hey, listen, like you want 50% off all of our tools, right? Any subscription or 50% off the lineup generator for less than $4.50 a week. If you haven't signed up at Prize Picks yet, Josh, if you're in a state where you can sign up at Prize Picks, you can bypass all of that 50% off stuff, which is good in its own right, and just get a free month of literally everything on our site. $120 value, including the Discord, lineup generator, ownership, boom, bust, top stack, for free when you sign up at Prize Picks with the link.
It's an incredible deal. And the amount of content that we have on the site right now for Prize Picks, the combination of everything, just getting that basically free $100, getting any additional information you want on Prize Picks, the content that we're putting out from a video perspective, we're teeing you up kind of perfectly to, I don't ever want to tell anybody like, I guarantee you're going to make money, because, everybody's going to hit losing streaks and negative runs. And it's, you might catch that one at the beginning and you might make it look worse. With everything that we have, I have a very hard time saying that you aren't at least dead neutral. And I think that over the long term, being a positive Prize Picks player like that, there's enough information out there where it's not going to be all that difficult for you. To me, I think it's the easiest place to build a bankroll anywhere right now.
Yeah, especially having the tools as a companion piece there for free when you sign up. And it's like, high stakes players use these tools. I always think of the advantage you have too as if you're a lower stakes player using these tools on like DraftKings and FanDuel and stuff in lower stakes contests where you have access to all of that. Most people playing their stakes aren't paying $120 for membership. Our hope is that you win money and you succeed with these tools, and then you want to stick around. Like that's the whole point. We want you to win, and then we want you to become, part of the family here at Stokastic. That's the hope. That's why we do these free months in partnership with Prize Picks. So check it out. Link in the description and in chat. If you don't use the link, if you don't use the link, we can't find you. We can't take your word for it. So join the Discord too. We'd love to have you guys over there. All right. Let's move this one forward. What do we got next? We got Milwaukee and Washington. Do you think we see anybody sit today on the second of a back-to-back from Milwaukee?
They certainly could. If they don't, then look, I don't think Middleton's playing today. He hasn't played any back-to-backs yet. So I think it's safe to say that he's not playing, but certainly could.
He did play almost 28 minutes yesterday. That's the most he's played since he returned from injury. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Even if it's just Middleton out and everybody else is in, this is the worst team on the slate today. Giannis is projected for 5% ownership. The next highest guy is Drew Holiday at 0.4. There is no ownership here. There is no value. I got one share of Giannis, and that's it. You're going to need to see multiple bodies out here to create additional value somewhere. Like you get a couple guys out, and all of a sudden maybe you can play Javon Carter or something. But for right now, I think Milwaukee is the worst team on the slate.
We have NBA Live Before Lock coming up tonight. You'll want to stick around for that like Josh mentioned, the Spurs. I think Washington too, if we don't get news on that, right? Because second leg of a back-to-back, I don't know what is going to happen with guys like Kuzma and Denny Avdia in a spot like this. But more importantly, Kyle Kuzma, he said he limped out of the stadium yesterday. I would think he doesn't play, but stranger things have happened. Right now, this is just all in limbo for the Wizards.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is here, I love Kuzma at 7,800 in this spot. I mean, he's playing 37 minutes a night right now. He's over a fantasy point per minute guy, even when everybody is healthy. So if 4% ownership was real for Kuzma, I would have many, many, many multiples for him. That said, we got to wait on Kuzma. We got to wait on Gafford. We got to wait on Denny Avdia. We just don't know the status of these guys. As we lose every individual dude, like whoever gets, like if Kuzma is out, that's how much better Beal and Porzingis can look. If Denny's out, you're bumping up guys. If Daniel Gafford is out, you're getting a different starting lineup. So it's something that we really have to pay close attention to. It's just something that it's basically impossible for us to break down right now. I'll say this. If Kyle Kuzma is in, he's a very, very high level GPP play for me.
Okay. Tank asked, Loughy or Josy, can you apply the same thought process that you use for Prize Picks on other sports books? Basically, take the same prop that Prize Picks has for someone on another book. Yes, but like there's no juice on these. They're like it's just the over or the under when you're building lineups on Prize Picks, right? And you can mix as many sports as you want. It's an awesome format too, because unlike traditional sports books, if you only hit 4 of 5 and you don't hit all 5, you still 2x on these cards. Whereas other books, if you hit 4 of 5, you don't get anything. You get money back on 3 of 5. But to your question, and Josh, you could probably speak to it too, because you're doing Prize Picks videos. You can, like, sure, if there's one you like and it's like 9.5 rebounds, then you go find 9.5 rebounds at plus 110. Yeah. But if it's 9.5 rebounds and then somewhere else it's like, it's still 9.5 rebounds, but it's minus 130. Those are like, those two things are not equal just because it's the same number. The odds on every line is super important with props, because you could be paying a premium, and if you're a novice and you don't know, it's a minus 150, which means to win $100, you have to put $150 down. And
you could also, I mean, we've got other tools for trying to do this.
I mean, OddsShopper Premium literally does that without you putting any work in.
Exactly. So you're going about it in a slightly different way, but we have tools for regular sports books instead of Prize Picks as well that are going to point you in the exact same direction, just basically factoring in the juice of bets.
I don't know if it's down there, but first week of OddsShopper Premium is totally free. I mean, it's the best approach you're going to find to betting long term, and it solves that problem that you were asking about, Tank, no doubt, without you having to go to every book. People used to do that manually. Now it's just right in front of you. Anybody else you want to talk about with Washington, or should we wrap this one up with Memphis and the Clippers?
Now, the Grizzlies, much like Milwaukee, are a team you need to wait for live before lock for, because we just need injury report and news.
All right. And appreciate you guys. 169 likes right now.
Nice.
600 plus people watching. I think we get 31 likes and get to 200 by the time this last game is over. So I'll thank you in advance for that. I have faith that on this nice Sunday morning, our people will do their thing. All right. Memphis. Oof. Tyus Jones. We talked about it at the top. I don't really think we need to even drill into this all that much with Tyus Jones. We have him at 92% expected ownership, which makes sense. He's essentially minimum salary with John Morant suspended.
Yeah.
What's interesting past that is we also have no Dylan Brooks either.
Suspended as well.
Brandon Clark.
Done for the year. Shame.
Yep. Steven Adams now is the one. You think he has a chance to play?
He's out already, I believe.
Is he confirmed? I wasn't sure if we had I wasn't sure if we got confirmation that Adams was officially out.
Yeah, he is out.
Okay.
Yeah, look, nothing else to say on Tyus Jones. You play him in every single lineup, in every single facet. I have him in 100%. There's no way that I won't. It's not even up for debate. There's no downside. He would have to get clipped by a Ja Morant stray for him to not make it on 3,100. So just play him. Just play him in everything. Don't think that you're like smart or cute by not doing it. Like, if I don't play Tyus Jones, like I'm printing now. He's 3,100. It's not like he's 5K and getting this ownership where like there is downside. There is no downside here. Everyone will have him. You just got to get different somewhere else. If you want to be the person that doesn't play him because you think Tyus Jones is going to roll his ankle, that doesn't put you like immediately at the front of the line. I wouldn't be surprised at all if someone still won with the 0 from Tyus Jones on a day like today, if 92% of the lineups have him. Like you're not making up that much ground. You still have to get that other person right in your lineup. So just play him. Don't overthink
the other person right that's giving you that much salary relief at 3,100.
Right. Yeah. Like it's as good as it gets. Desmond Bane looks fantastic at 7,600, sees a usage bump, sees an assist bump with no Morant around and with no Dylan Brooks. 36% owned. I got him in 44% of my lineups right now. I don't mind getting there at all, and I wouldn't mind getting more. Jaren Jackson, you're just at the mercy of minutes. I gave him 30. He's got the power forward eligibility. We're certainly going to see him play a little bit more at the 5 here, just because no Brandon Clark, no Steven Adams. They're out of bodies. So he's going to rotate into playing the 5 at least a little bit. Santi Aldama should get a little bit of a bump. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. I gave him 24. I think he could be at least a little bit interesting. Tillman at 5,300 you would think has to play at least a little bit more. I gave him 29 minutes. I find him to be mostly uninteresting. Totally reasonable play, not a priority to me. My guess is John Conchar gets the start. Could just as easily be Luke Kennard. Both of those guys are kind of similar, not great per minute dudes that could play like 24 to 28 minutes. I prefer Conchar, I guess, because I think he starts, but neither one of them is really getting any ownership. Neither one of them is all that interesting. Get Bane, get Jones, get Jackson.
Jackson, man, he's so volatile all the time, and the price point, particularly this price point, but the upside in a spot like this is just massive.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really good spot for him. And look, he's just not the same guy that he used to be. He doesn't play the minutes that you want him to. I think a little bit of that is also just Memphis in general. But, he's like a just slightly worse than average fouler now instead of just incapable of not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, look, even last year, though, his foul rate was pretty similar. It was the first few years that was brutal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was as bad as it gets, really.
Darren Haxon. Yeah, It was bad. All right. But yes, Memphis in general, there are three guys right now that are wildly appealing and for very good reason.
Yep.
Clippers on the other side. Man, Russell Westbrook comes in and this guy's playing basketball again. The performances have been up and down to some extent, and his minutes are at times kind of tough to gauge, but he's getting the opportunities as a playmaker. Not really doing a whole lot from a rebounding perspective like you typically see from Westbrook, but that's because, a lot of those Russell Westbrook rebounds that we've seen for so many years were kind of manufactured, if you know what I mean. He's getting 15% right now. Where are you at on that? There are a lot of other guys in a similar price range getting similar ownership. Like, who do you like more, Clarkson or Westbrook today?
Clarkson.
Okay, you would think so.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the ownership on Westbrook?
I mean, it makes some sense. It's all about how many minutes you think he's playing here. Assuming Kawhi is back, Marcus Morris is back. I know we don't have any Norm Powell. There's a Q tag on Ivica Zubac. I mean, the 3 games prior to the game where Kawhi sat out, Russ played 28, 28, and 25 minutes. He got more when there was no Kawhi, no Zubac, no Powell, no Marcus Morris. I mean, you start running out of bodies, you get it. But I gave him 30 minutes. I don't have a share of him. I'm perfectly reasonable. I think it's perfect. Like, I don't need to get there. I don't think 15% ownership is crazy. Like, he's a starting point guard at 7,200, but by all means. Not my cup of tea, though. You need all of those minutes. I mean, he's a 1.15 guy. Gonna not shoot a bunch of threes when they guard him below the free throw line, which has to just be the most embarrassing thing that you can be as a basketball player, to know that no one wants to guard you and you either won't shoot because you can't, you don't think you should. Like, immediately that's just in your head. That's got to be such a problem. The only guy that I really want to get here
Ben
is
Simmons never had
Kawhi.
an issue with that, though.
What do you mean?
I don't think it ever got in his head.
I mean, at the beginning, I don't think it mattered at all.
Come on. And maybe not at the beginning, but nobody pressured it.
No, but I don't think he, for that first year, probably the second year, I don't think it negatively impacted him. Now it does, for sure. He's just a shell of himself, but his size also helps too, because if he starts to get a little bit of a head of steam, he's just so much bigger than Russ that you can. But
he doesn't even do that anymore.
He's shot.
I could go back and find a bunch of clips just from this year with Brooklyn where he drives to the rack and does the dish pass underneath the basket when he has a clear lane. Very weird stuff, but that's besides the point. Let's wrap it up with the rest of the Clippers. Is there any interest in George and Kawhi now that everybody outside of, I know Norman Powell's out, like you said, Zubac is questionable, but you've got Westbrook, Leonard, and George all playing today?
I don't mind going to Paul George at 8,800. You get the great positionality. He's like a 1.25 fantasy point per minute guy. It's clearly a better matchup against Memphis with no Ja, no Dylan Brooks, but I actually prefer Kawhi to anybody else on this team. 9,200, small forward, power forward. Was playing upwards of 37 minutes prior to sitting on Friday. No reason to suspect he doesn't do that in a competitive game. I only gave him 35. He's 10% owned. I have 23%. That's a way, to me, that I could pay up a little bit to be and get a decent chunk of a pay up option. So Dame is the guy I'm getting the most. Kawhi is my second most owned pay up option. I like him more than like Jason Tatum at 10-6. I like him more than Shea just because of the positionality. So if you're getting to anybody here from the Clippers, not that this is a shock, but get yourself some Kawhi Leonard.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Hopefully you have a great rest of the weekend. Live Before Lock happens tonight. Be around for that. Seems like there's still a lot of important pending news out there. Check out Josh's Prize Picks video. Follow him at Josh Engelman, me at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D. We've been tweeting some stuff out, sweating some stuff together with our friends on Twitter. It's been a good time.
We have.
Been a good time. Let's keep it up. And we are 7 likes away. There's got to be 7 people before they leave that can get us to 200. If not,
you would think.
If not, I was wrong. Anyway, Josh, enjoy the bar. Go watch Liverpool. I'm going to go get some food. Shout out to Mike for producing this one. Thanks, guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the NBA Strategy Show presented by Prize Picks. Peace.